Earlier in this tournament, FIFA used their microchip to rule out a goal, simply because the ball grazed a single strand of a player's hair. Let that sink in for a second. We now have technology so insanely sensitive that it can detect a human hair brushing against a piece of leather. So explain this to me. How did that exact same miracle chip look at a massive still stadium cable, a cable that millions of fans watched the ball smash into live on television, and decide that absolutely nothing happened? Norway is on a plane home, England is marching into the World Cup semi-finals, and the entire world is being asked to accept a reality that completely defies the laws of physics. Now, I know a lot of people choose to blindly trust the official data logs. They think a computer chip cannot lie, clean win, move along. And maybe, but when you contrast a system that used a microscope on one end of the pitch and a complete blindfold on the other, it gets genuinely difficult not to feel like the narrative is being steered. Let us dive into it, because the official explanation from FIFA is honestly kind of insane. First, you have to understand the sheer physical brutality of this match. This wasn't just a tactical test, it was a survival test. The temperature at kickoff in Miami was hovering around a staggering 113 degrees Fahrenheit with the humidity. The kind of afternoon just standing on the pitch makes your lungs burn. And for the vast majority of the first half, Norway was completely bossing it. They entered their first World Cup quarterfinal with absolutely zero fear. Martin Odegaard was pulling the strings in midfield, and when Andres Sjerdanov hammered home a gorgeous strike in the 36th minute, the Norwegian fans genuinely believed the miracle was happening. England looked completely suffocated, visibly running out of fumes and entirely out of ideas. They were minutes away from a humiliating half-time talk. The Norwegian plan was working flawlessly until the exact millisecond the game was violently detonated. We are deep in first half stoppage time. Norway is clinging to their well-deserved 1-0 leads. The goalkeeper, Erling Haaland, takes a completely routine goal kick to clear his line. He launched it high into the humid sky, but right at the absolute peak, the ball does something entirely impossible. It doesn't follow a natural smooth aerodynamic curve. Instead, it takes a sudden sharp twist and drops almost vertically straight down to the grass. It looked exactly like a bird flying directly into a closed glass window. To the casual viewer, it looks like a free pocket of ghost wind. But as the high definition replay immediately exposed, it didn't hit a ghost. It struck the heavy black metallic cable suspending the robotic SkyCam over the pitch. Because of that completely unnatural physical deflection, the Norwegian defenders were caught completely out of position. They were moving forward expecting a ball downfield. Instead, the ball is suddenly bouncing directly at the feet of England's Elliot Anderson. He feeds Anthony Gordon, who feeds Jude Bellingham, and Bellingham sweeps home the equalizer. Handy that. The English fans erupt, but the Norwegian players are instantly consumed by a sense of deep grievance. Erling Haaland and Erling Haaland are practically sprinting at the referee, pointing furiously at the sky, demanding that someone look at the swinging cables. But the referee, Clement Turpin, simply waves his hands. The goal stands. The match is tied and a massive tactical breakthrough is completely erased. Now let us read the actual rulebook slowly, because the mechanics of this law are not open to interpretation. Under the strict regulation of international football, if the ball comes into contact with an overhead camera, wire or stadium equipment, play must be stopped immediately. The referee is required to halt the sequence and restart the game with a fair dropped ball. This isn't a subjective decision like a soft foul or questionable yellow card. It's completely binary. If it hits the wire, the play is dead. Therefore, the moment the ball struck the cable, the entire attacking phase should have ceased to exist. So why didn't VAR step in? Why did the multi-million-dollar technology room go completely silent? Because according to FIFA, the video evidence you saw with your own eyes was an illusion. Following the match, FIFA issued an official statement defending the goal. They explained that the high-tech match balls contain an internal connected chip sensor. This sensor measures micro vibrations to determine exactly when the ball makes contact with an object. The engineers literally call it the heartbeat of the ball. And according to their data logs, that heartbeat registered an absolute flat line in the air. They claim that because the chip didn't register a vibration, it couldn't have hit the cable, which means we have officially entered a comically convoluted era of modern sport. An era where fans are told to reject human eyesight and blindly trust the emotional sensitivity of an inflated piece of leather. Apparently the ball can feel a single strand of hair, but it was just feeling entirely numb when it smacked into a steel cable. Either that or the tracking antennas under the stadium roof simply have a blind spot exactly where the wire hangs. Even England's own coach, Thomas Tuchel, leaned into the tech defense, pointing out that the chip is smart enough to tell you if a hair touches it.
Are you aware that Norway think that for the build-up for the first Jude goal, that the ball actually hit the spider cam? And then
Yeah, I heard that, but I mean, there's a chip in the ball who can tell you if a hair touches it, as we know since the Croatia-Portugal game. So they should be able to tell you if it happened. I was not aware of it, I didn't see it, and FIFA said.
But the cable incident alone isn't why Norway fans feel completely cheated. It's the blatant double standard that followed 10 minutes into the second half. Norway scored again. Torbjørn Hegem turned the ball home off a corner and the stadium erupted, but this time VAR didn't stay silent. They pulled the play back and spent minutes analysing the footage frame by frame and chalked the goal off because Erling Haaland gave a two-handed push to Elliot Anderson in the build-up. Now look, it was a push. You can absolutely justify disallowing it under the rules. That's not the issue. The issue is the staggering contrast. Think about what VAR chose to do in this one single match. One end of the pitch got a high-powered microscope, while the other end got a complete blindfold. They would dig through 20 bodies on a corner to find a routine shirt pull, but when a ball violently changes directions in mid-air right before an England goal, they don't even bother to check the camera angle. Later on, VAR actually went against England too, overturning a penalty that Djed Spence thought he had won against Oscar Bob. So the picture isn't corrupt referee bending everything one way. It's a picture of utter chaos. A system you cannot predict is a system you cannot trust. Now let us be completely honest here. I'm not going to sit here and sell you a grand conspiracy theory. There is zero evidence that FIFA actively plotted to send England through. Bellingham's winning goal in the 3rd minute of extra time was a piece of elite finishing, pouncing on a spilled shot from Morgan Rogers to steal the 2-1 victory. Norway didn't lose to a malicious plot, they lost to a brilliant opponent, a tough mistake by their own keeper, and an officiating system that is completely broken. The boring, embarrassing truth is that FIFA simply cannot run its own technology consistently. They sold us this system as the ultimate tool to remove all human doubt. Instead, they have created a coin flip. Norway's manager, Ståle Solbakken, stated it best, pointing out the ball fell straight down in front of the bench, and that his own eyes told him one thing, while FIFA's chip told him another.
Many on the bench reacted immediately. Sorry, I was not one of them, but many of them saw it.
What do you make of FIFA's communique saying that the chip that was able to detect touched by a hair is not able to detect the...
No, but I can't say anything about that because FIFA, if there's been no sound or there has been no in the chip. What can I say against that? But the ball drops down straight from heaven. This says everyone, including Ørjan, who is the goalie, including the guy who's gonna receive the ball, including I saw another way just then, so I wonder also what happened. So I think it's pretty clear that it did, and it was a strange thing.
So who do you choose to believe? Do you trust the reality of your own eyes, or do you trust a silent microchip? Make a case down in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our breakdown when England faces Argentina in the semi-finals. Assuming, of course, the stadium camera equipment doesn't score a goal first.